everybody. I'm Lizzie Arbogast-Gwynn with Tallapoosa Publishers. I'm here with Melody Rathel. How you doing, Mel?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So we're here for a new series of our podcast called We Hear You. And this podcast is going to be all about things that we hear and we see that we aren't ready to write a story about.
Right. So we decided to start this off with a Facebook post that has been circulating locally and even farther. And the Facebook post is by Amy Moore Wade, and she talks about an incident that happened at Kowaliga restaurant Saturday where her teenage son had noticed a man was taking pictures of what he claimed to be the sunset, but there was a 4-year-old girl who was playing on the beach unsupervised, and the son happened to notice that he was zooming in, and it just looked like he was taking pictures of the little girl. So the son went to confront him, according to the Facebook post, where the son eventually obtained the phone from the man, and the son found that the man had taken over 40 images of the children playing on the beach at the restaurant.
Yeah, and so this Facebook post goes on to basically describe this situation. It says that no one from the restaurant called the police, even though the son tried to get attention from the restaurant. It also said that someone from the restaurant came over to talk to the men, but they walked off, leaving the men there. However, Kowaliga restaurant has released a statement saying that it did intervene on the situation. It questioned the men and asked them to move to the other side of the building to a different waiting area. The Kowaliga statement also goes on to read, when she went to check on them, meaning the restaurant manager, she discovered that they had left. The Elmore County Sheriff's Department was notified, and security footage was being reviewed for any images of the men.
And so, talking with Elmore County Sheriff Bill Franklin, he says that the Elmore County Sheriff's Department did not get a call at the time that the incident happened. He said that there was a post that he read, but he didn't receive any information about when it was happening in real time. So there was no police response to the incident. But he did say that it is something that will obviously give extra patrolling in that area, because that is a red flag of any sex offenders or predators in that area. He did say that it is very odd that someone would take 40 or more photos of small children.
Yeah, and so basically what we want to get on here and kind of discuss is the reason that we haven't reported on this is because we can't verify the validity of any of this. If you look at some of the comments, and we're the kind of people that we want to take things at face value. We believe our sources when they give us a story tip. We believe our sources when they come in and tell us something. We certainly take things as the truth. But in journalism, it's all about verification. And so some of the questions that have come up surrounding this story and how likely the story is, some of those questions on the flip side of things have been things like, why would a grown man give his phone to a 17-year-old kid at a restaurant? And why was a 4-year-old left alone to play on the beach at a restaurant?
Yeah, and some of the other questions surrounding the incident are also, did the restaurant respond in a proper manner? And if there was a loud altercation, which Amy Moore Wade's Facebook post says there was a slight altercation between her son and the men taking photos, were there any witnesses? And if they are, why haven't they come forward?
I think the biggest thing to take from this, regardless of if it's 100% true, if there's some misunderstanding going on, if there was some exaggeration going on, probably the biggest and most important thing is to stay vigilant, right? This is just another story of where leaving your children unattended is probably not a good idea, and being aware of your surroundings is probably the best idea. In this type of situation, calling the police would probably have been the right move.
Right. But I will have to say, kudos to that 17-year-old for noticing that in the first place. And
yeah, and I think people always go back to that phrase, if you see something, say something.
right.
And this is the perfect opportunity, or the perfect example, I mean, of where someone saw something and attempted to say something and was trying to do the right thing.
Right, absolutely. And I think this could be a learning lesson about see something, say something. And if you do have that gut feeling that something's going wrong, immediately call the proper authorities to get them to check it out and take the proper protocol moving forward.
And you know, it is always difficult on the lake because the lake is surrounded by 3 counties. So when you're at Kowaliga restaurant, although you feel as if you're in Alexander City, you're actually in Elmore County.
Right.
So you may not always know the proper authorities to call, but if you were to call any of the sheriff's departments, they can get you in contact with the right people. The other thing that we wanted to briefly discuss was a graphic we saw going around about the fastest shrinking cities in Alabama, Alexander City being one of the top 10. That's based on population in 2023. So the population of Alexander City went down by a percentage point in 2023. This is according to alnews.com.
The issue with this story would be trying to figure out where to get the most valid and factual data from, as well as data changes throughout the years. So that one could be a little bit difficult to follow up on.
So basically here at this, at our TPI podcast, We Hear You, these are the kinds of stories that we'll be discussing. Things that we know are going on, things that we know people are talking about, but there might be some issues in the reporting, or there might be some hang up for why we can't give you a more official sense of what happened. Anytime we get something like this, which is a Facebook post that's heard around the world, it seems, you know, it went viral with over 3,000 shares, hundreds and hundreds of comments, is unfortunately, as a news source, before we can put this out there as fact, we want to be able to ensure that it was fact. And again, that's not to call anyone a liar or to say that we don't believe anyone.
Right.
It's just that we weren't there, police weren't called, so therefore it makes it a more difficult story to pursue.
But ultimately, we do want everyone to know that we do hear you, and we are doing the best we can to get all the correct information out to you.
And so we're definitely excited. We'll bring this podcast to you guys whenever we see something big happen in Tallapoosa, Elmore, or Coosa counties. We'll hop on here, discuss what's going on. We want to give you guys some transparency into what we do every day and what we're trying to accomplish behind the scenes, so that you guys also can know that you can trust us to get you the stories and to get you the right stories in the proper time.
This has been a production of TPI Media. Community journalism is vital to America. If you value trustworthy reporting, please consider supporting us by clicking the link in the show notes.